only time they can vent, for fear if they vent at home, it could destroy the marriage. So I guess that's one of the reasons you put the men on one side and the women on the other, and then you get together. Please explain the concept.
Well, I think that creating a safe environment is what we're trying to do at the conference, for men to be with men, to talk about things that are going on with them, and women to do the exact same thing. And they can commiserate and encourage one another, being gender specific, so that when they do come back together, or when they are in their homes trying to resolve conflict, they can do that because they flesh that out with other men or other women to make sure that they're on base. So that's very important.
What do you hear most often in those sessions with men? Then I'm going to ask the women to explain what they hear. So what are the common complaints men have, or concerns men have, about their relationships with their wives?
Number one, this whole idea of feeling affirmed, or the lack thereof, being torn down, not being affirmed by their mates. And the other thing that's an oldie but a goodie is just lack of sex. That always
Whose fault is that?
That comes up. I'm not placing blame here. I'm just stating the facts, ma'am. Just the fact. No, it is one of those things that it does come up. But what we try to work with men and try to help them say, hey, is there a linkage between that? If you're not being affirmed and you're not talking about being affirmed, then you're going to end up feeling some kind of way. Your wife's going to feel some kind of way because she's going to sense that. And it's counterintuitive for human beings, but what drives emotional connection is healthy resolution of conflict. It really does. That's counterintuitive. But back in the day, the songs talking about makeup, sex, and all of that, we break up to make up. That was an old song. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of truth to that, in the sense of, you're staying here with me. I feel emotionally connected. You didn't leave. We talked about the issues. You talked about how you felt. That does something to you. That gives you an emotional connection, whether you're a man or a woman.
Renee, what do you hear from the women?
For women, it's usually they feel like their husbands don't listen to them. And
I can relate to that.
And they often feel there's a communication void, that women tend to be more verbal than men, and so they have these words that need to be expressed, and they can often feel like the husband is just tuning them out or cutting them off, and not giving them an opportunity to really feel like they were heard. It's not even that you need a solution. A lot of times women feel like their husbands are trying to solve the problem or fix a situation, where often a wife just wants to be heard, and even if you don't agree, I feel better that you heard me out and you listened and paid attention to what I had to say, how I feel, because the feelings don't go away. So if we don't have an opportunity to talk about them, what that can build up is resentment. I call it bricks of resentment, and you keep stacking those bricks on top of each other, and then there's a wall between the husband and the wife.
Once you build a wall, it's hard to get through it.
It is.
So, to my Simmons family, what did you all learn in the conferences that surprised you? He's putting the mic in front of her face. Y'all are too cute.
Sometimes when you're having a conversation with the person that you have the emotional conflict with, it's hard to hear their point of view. But when we're in the woman-to-woman or the women-to-women sessions, they're very candid. And again, I keep going back to that because I just need to hear someone tell me real information. And on the last year, it was very, very hard to hear. Your body is not yours. Mm-hmm. If your husband asks for sex, you have to give him sex. And I heard this from a woman who had her testimony. I mean, when she was speaking about the things she went through in her marriage and the hurt and the infidelity, and she still made love to her husband. That was just so, for me, I can hear that. I can hear that because you've been through it and you told me how to get through it. And so those candid, firm,
a lot of tears.
It was a lot of tears, and those things are hard to hear, especially when you're upset with that person. You don't want to do that, but you learn that you have to love them just like they love you in spite of your issues that you have. So
Okay, so let's hear from the male side of the family. All right, come on, Justin.
Well, a couple of things that stuck out, that stand out for me. The first thing is that we are not alone, that a lot of men at various levels of their relationships go through the same thing. I kind of break it down, even though Mel spoke it so eloquently, it's pretty much respect, sex, and food, So
That's all a man needs, respect, sex, and food.
Right, and sports. Right. So, and we kind of simplify it. It's kind of, we figure that it's not so hard, but it actually is. So it's just learning how to communicate and learning how to be quiet and learning how to just listen and sometimes learning how to look like you're listening. Just playing.
Okay, Mel.
I have an opening tomorrow morning at 10.
But, come on. You just summarized basically, what guys, they just say. That's pretty much what I want. But let's talk about how the man needs to realize what the woman wants.
Well, that's so important. One of the things that God designed marriage to do is for you to become your best self. Marriage is this incredible crucible where fire and all of the impurities bubble to the surface, and it's very painful to do that. I've become closer to God and more of the man that God wants me to be because of my relationship with Renee. Because I have to get outside of myself and understand her. I, at my core, do not understand, based on Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages, acts of service. That's what Renee needs. That is not on my radar grid at all. But it is a volitional act of the will for me to get outside of myself and say, she needs me to do acts of service for her so that she can feel emotionally connected and have a sense of love for me. And that's important, because when I don't do that, intellectually she may know that I love her, but experientially what she's concluding is he doesn't love me. And that is what it really requires, is getting outside of ourselves. And
so what are some acts of service?
It could be something as simple as I make sure that the yard is mowed. I don't mow it. I mean, I've mowed yards throughout my lifetime, but she didn't say I had to be the one to do it. Just get it done. Guys, don't just, if you married to someone act of service, just in general, don't throw your clothes in the middle of the floor, those kinds of things. One of the things that I do is that my wife loves Coke Zero. Mm-hmm. And we have a little dorm fridge right there by the door coming out of the garage. And I keep that stocked with Coke Zero because she doesn't drink coffee. And that's an act of service. And when it's getting low, I check it and I'll go to some store, get a case of Coke Zeros, things like that. Or when she's coming in, if I'm there before her, I'll hear the garage door go up. No matter what I'm doing, I get up and I meet her at the door. I'll go get her briefcase. If she's got dry cleaning, I'll get that and all of that. And she's gotten to the point now where I've trained her so well, she would just leave her rolling briefcase right there at those 2 stairs coming in, and I'll go get that. Those are acts of service. And what that does is a reciprocity, a reciprocal approach, in that I'm words of affirmation. And so because I'm doing that and ministering to her, she wants to affirm me. And so it's this wonderful dog chasing its tail thing.
Now you too.
You were saying you're the opposite.
Come on,
okay,
Justin.
So we're the opposite. So I'm more acts of service and she's words of affirmation. So a lot of times when I'm kind of mentioning a concern of mine, she kind of takes it, a little harder than it's intended to be. And while I'm more of the acts of service, it's more show me better than you can tell me, so that's the type of person we are. So sometimes our signals get crossed, and so that's just something that we've been intentional about trying to work through, and we've made great progress, I would say. Progress, right? Okay, great.
Now the whole time you're there at the conference, it's not just sitting in rooms and talking and full of angst. So what are some of the fun things that happen?
Date night.
Date
night is very fun. I know one year we had live jazz, and we were out. We were just out and with Milkshake, and his wife Christine came, and we just danced outside all night, and we had our picnic baskets, and it was just it was such an amazing time. So I really look forward to the date night.
Now, do you all have a regular date night? The look on your face, Tanisha, is telling me no.
We're working on that.
But being intentional, that's something that we are working on, because when you have young children and you're working and everything, you have to be intentional on carving out time for your spouse. And as I stated earlier, we're pretty young in our marriage, and we're just learning the things that we need to prioritize, and that is something that we need to definitely work on, carving out time to make sure we have a steady date night for us to hang out.
Well, we're going to talk some more about the Heart of Marriage retreat when we come back. Y'all tickle me every year. It's just, I laugh because it's the honesty, but yet the fun comes out, and you can tell that at this retreat, people are enjoying themselves while learning from each other. So we're going to talk some more about the Heart of Marriage retreat. The best is yet to come, September 15th through the 17th at the Evergreen Marriott Conference Center in Stone Mountain. www.heartofmarriageretreat.com. Well, right now, we were talking about date night. I'm going to give somebody a date night. Okay? So, caller 14, you win a pair of tickets to see 2013 BET Lifetime Achievement Award recipient Charlie Wilson and Fantasia, When I See You, I Believe, Lose to Win, Sleeping with the One I Love. Fantasia, and then, of course, my man, Johnny Gill. This is March the 4th at Phillips Arena at 7:30. But I'm giving you a date night, 2 tickets if you're the 14th caller at 404-741-0104 here on KISS 104, Atlanta's best R&B and throwbacks.
What's that number here?